So, so firstly, this laptop is for show. Everything is being operated from the console room thanks to Murphy's law. So every conference something has to break. So since it has broken, you can pretty much expect the conference to go very good. So yeah, is the slides visible with all the slides? Okay, awesome. Don't go about one of the keynote speakers pretty easily. They didn't have to do a lot of hard work. I'm just kidding. They did a lot of hard work. So the things have pretty much been for me like all your first years right now sitting over here. So today is kind of a nostalgic day for me because it kind of all started in the same way like I was sitting over there. Then I started organizing events like Anupam and shares. And yeah, now I'm talking over here. So it's kind of has been moved from all those rows behind to the first row and then to the stage. So how many of you, I'll do a quick show of hands because I like to keep it interactive. Don't take this talk as yet another lecture that you have to attend in Saturday morning. I know going to college is difficult. I have been there. So try to keep it interactive. Can you give some light in the auditorium? Okay, that's a good number of people. How many of you have done anything in open source till now? Not many people. Good. So let's start. So next slide. So this talk is not about code, though Pragma is supposed to be mostly about code. Next slide. This talk is more about you people. So I'll try to keep it more to you people, how you people can benefit from open source, how you people can contribute to open source, and when you people become the maintainers of open source projects, what ways you can choose to go ahead, right? So yeah, next slide. So to brief about myself, so this is me with that scary pumpkin face. So I mainly cover 3 roles right now. I had been a developer throughout my college life. I'm still a developer. I'm proud about it, never was into competitive coding. So yeah. So developer and open source kind of mingles together. So I had been contributing to open source in college. I did Google Summer of Code twice. I had been contributing to projects like FOSSASIA, jQuery, Secure Drop, and many other projects, Wikimedia and stuff. And currently I'm working in a company called Gitcoin, which completely works on open source. So yeah, I was in open source in college, I'm still in open source. So yeah, it has been stuck with me forever, right? Yeah. And with open source comes a lot of community work, right? So here I'm talking today to all you people is just to motivate you people as well to come into open source and do a lot more. The reason is open source is all about collaboration. I'll come to more about it later. But the reason is the more you collaborate, there are better chances of making better things. That's what open source holds for. So community forms an important part, an important role in open source altogether. Getting to connect with many people, getting to know people who are outside of the people you meet every day. So it gives you all this scope to interact with a lot of people, it gives you this scope to learn from each other. Next slide. So this is where it all began. I am pretty much sure anyone doesn't know about any of this event because none of you were there because this is my first year. So I don't think you can recognize me. Can anyone recognize me in this picture? It's like second from the left is me. So there was someone called Aditya Chaturvedi, a senior of ours, who was a Mozilla student ambassador. He did an event called Moz Cafe when I was in first year. That's where I heard the name open source for the very first time. It was pretty much similar to you people. We got an orientation where it was basically like, okay, you have to come because you are first year. So I'm guessing how many of you are here because of that? You can raise your hands, they are not saying. Okay, few of them, good. At least few of them are brave enough to raise their hands. I know most of you are. But yeah, so that's how it all began. But then that's the time when I got to know about the terms open source. That's when I got to know that there exists a world outside of the, all competitive coding and placement and all these grades, where we who maybe fall back, I wouldn't say fall back because it's a negative term, but we who don't feel our heart going towards that direction, has a way out, which is this open source world, which is this development world where you build stuff. So that's where it all began. Then I started going into the thing called Geekhaven. I was in the web team forever in Geekhaven till I was in college, and yeah, then I graduated. So next slide. So free and open source. What is all this about free and open source? I have been talking and blabbering about it for pretty much a long time now. So free and open source, as you see, there are two terms. So the two terms were like introduced by two great people, Richard Stallman and Linus Torvalds, kind of holds the all the credits for coining these two terms. So the reason of free and open source is more of a code-based phenomena. It's like the code is open, the code is accessible, everything about the code, you can contribute to the code. Free is more about the movement. So it's about freedom, it's about being free from all this corporate having a hold on you via the softwares. You have the hold on the software rather than the other way around, right? So that's what the free stands for. Free doesn't stand for all the torrents that you download, free stands for the freedom, right? Next slide. So these are few of the open source organizations, like very few of a large number of open source organizations. Some of you might recognize a few of them, like how many of you use Firefox over here? Okay, a lot many, right? How many of you have used Linux over here? Okay, that should be a lot more, but okay. So these are all open source projects, okay? Like the code is readily accessible. You can actually go and see and learn and study the code. Even you can actually suggest changes in the code. So that's a great thing, right? How many of you do web development over here? Okay, so if you have ever opened a website, it's mostly 95% of the code that you're using has some open source software in it. So if you ever use like any website, let's say you open Facebook, how many, every one of you are in Facebook. I'm not even gonna ask how many of you are in Facebook. But when you open Facebook, Facebook is mostly built on something called React, which Facebook themselves built, which is an open source, like open source framework or open source tool, right? A lot many websites, like let's say IIIT website, it has a lot of jQuery code in it. jQuery is again an open source tool. So there are a lot of websites. Most of the websites that you use will be on open source tool. If you don't even have the open source code in it, they run on something called server, which is basically another Linux machine, somewhere in the cloud, not the cloud that we know, the cloud, that's another computer. So those all have Linux servers running on them, Linux operating systems running on them. So somewhere or the other, when you're opening a website, you are basically opening an open source code, right? Next slide. Yeah, so basically you're definitely using it even if you haven't heard about it. Like if you don't know about the open source term, but you have definitely used it maybe throughout your life. Next slide. Yeah, so what are the benefits of open source? Why do we do open source? What is open source? Why do we get open source? So firstly, one of the most important things is access of code, right? So what's access of code? What do I mean by access of code? When you are using Microsoft Office, for example, you can find the Microsoft Office code anywhere in the internet, right? It's a closed source software. Only Microsoft has all the permissions. Only the people working in Microsoft has the permissions to look into the code. But you people don't have any access to look into the code. In open source codes like Firefox, you can actually find the code base of Firefox. You can actually build Firefox in your own Linux system and maybe create on top of it to create yet another browser of your own. Right? You can actually see the code of Linux server. The entire code base is available. You can go through each and every line of the code that's written. You can actually see code of React. You can actually see code of Python. You can actually see the code which is written for, let's say, JavaScript, jQuery, a lot many of the projects, right? So that's the accessibility of the code. Everyone has the access to the code. They can learn and study from the code. Next slide. Next is understanding the code. Now, if you don't have access to the code at the very first place, obviously you can't understand the code. Now, why does understanding code play an important role? It plays an important role depending on you. For example, when you people are in first year, okay, another thing, if anyone is getting bored, please raise your hand so maybe I can do something. Most probably I'll just continue with the topic. So, understanding of code why it's important is for all of you people who are in first year or second year or third year or even me, we get to learn a lot from the code back. Like most of the projects that we do here in college is necessary, but then we don't get to learn a lot from it because why? We take it from seniors or from friends. Everyone knows that. There's no denying it, right? So we don't really understand the code because what happens is you have to submit an assignment at 3 a.m. in the morning. You will just take the assignment at 2 a.m. in the morning. You'll just submit it and done with it, right? So there's no understanding of the code there, and I can understand why you don't want to understand. The reason is it's not something that might be interesting to you. But let's say a project that you have been using all the time and you really like it. That's when it comes, okay, maybe I should look how it actually works. That's where most of the interest comes. Like maybe how the Android app that I was using, how does it work? Or maybe the website that I saw last time, how does it work, right? Even the Pragma code is open source, right? So you can actually go and see how did all the Pragma code at the front end and everything that they added, how did this work? So you can go and see this, and then when you find it interesting, that's when you turn into understanding the code. And by understanding the code, you basically get to learn from the code. You get to, most of the web development that I learned is via reading of all this open source code, because there isn't a very strict course for web development or development, so as to say, and it's not very possible. It's mostly self-motivation driven. So understanding others' code really helps you a lot. Next slide. To create a copy of the project, depending on the license, there are like open source licensing is a very important thing. So depending on the license, there are some rules on how and when you can copy and distribute the code. But then it gives you an opportunity to copy the code, which we call in open source terms forking of the code. And once you fork the code, you can make modifications to your own code so that you can use it in a way you want to use it. Like maybe you take Firefox browser, you build it from your own scratch, and then you say, I just don't like this color scheme that Firefox uses, I'll use something very different color scheme. You can actually do that for yourself. So that's like modifying of the code. Next slide. Suggest modifications now. Not only for you people, it's important for us who are actually making open source projects. The reason is, the best thing about open source is most of the open source projects are considered to be more secure and like more cryptographically secure and everything. The reason was there was a time when cryptography people would actually never share any knowledge that they had. Reason? During the World Wars basically. The reason was because they thought that if we share the knowledge, then others know about the cryptography that we are using. And that would end in like breaking of things. But the thing was, when you are not sharing, you actually don't get to know the flaws that you have in your own code. That's what open source stands for. When you share the code, you actually get to know from other people that this is a flaw. And the flaw can come from someone in first year. Like you are browsing through a website, you see that something is wonky, something is not looking correct. You can file an issue. You can actually suggest a modification if you already know where to change the code. And then what happens is the website gets better. Right? So that's what open source stands for. Next slide. How many of you use Internet Explorer? Sad life. How many of you use Chrome, Google Chrome? Okay. So as an open source project of Chromium, and then Google did its magic on top of Chromium, and then we have Google Chrome. But you can still actually see the code of open source code for Chromium and download Chromium and build on top of. As of Internet Explorer, I guess everyone uses Internet Explorer to download Google Chrome at least. So don't say you better use Internet Explorer. Yeah, next slide. This is what's like closed source software. You don't have any access to the code. Next slide. Something should appear which is not appearing. We had a picture, something like this, which was like Microsoft holding a collar to everyone, because they have the access, they control how the users are functioning, right? What happens with closed source is you don't even know what Microsoft is actually doing, whether it's tracking your data, whether it's tracking whatever, whether it's controlling how the way you are wanting to use internet. You can't have any access over it. In open source, what happens is, let's say for example, if you are using a Python code, or let's say you are using open source browser, or even Linux. The Linux, you actually have entire access to see what the Linux is doing with your system. So you can basically study and know it's you who is in control of the software. So you are ruling the software, not the other way around. Right? Next slide. Okay. So now that you have a clear idea of open source, how many of you have got some idea about open source? I don't know to believe, but okay. Fancy. You go and do it, I will go and sleep in my house. Why do I contribute to it? Fair point. So let's talk a little about that. Next slide. When we were kids, right, most of us used to do collaborative works. Mostly you would play cricket in the front of your room, or like you play football in the ground or everything. And most of those works were actually collaborative, right? You play as a team. But then when you get into this race in your life where you have to get a job, you have to get a better life, you have to get settled down, you stop doing collaborations, you start being more competitive. You start competing with other people. So open source is something which says first do collaboration, don't do competition. Why? Because collaboration, you don't need to compete to have a job or to be better in life. You can collaborate, help each other and get better in life as well. So that's what open source stands for. That's how open source softwares get better, because a person who is sitting in India can actually contribute to a project which is in US, and then the US project gets better. So that's the level of collaboration. It bridges the gap between like all this distance and time zones that we have. Right?
Yes.
Next slide. Self-development. So this is very important for all the college students, right? So most of the projects that we do, like making a OOPS project to like, let's say object-oriented programming project for medical analysis or a registration system or whatever be the case. Those projects are very much just to teach you the basics, but those are not really the projects that are there in the, like, being used by millions of people. But when you contribute to open source projects, you are contributing to projects which are being used by millions of people. It's no more a simulated case that is gonna die in your hostel room. It's a project that everyone is using. So when you contribute to that, you actually get to learn how the things actually function from all these old textbooks and all these things that the professors teach. I'm not against the teachings, but you get my point. So you get to actually know how the things will be. Like, let's say everyone talks about complexity and time complexity and this and that and this algorithm and that algorithm. Well, fair point, those things always come into play. But then you are never taught how to actually deploy the website into a server, maybe for example. Or after the algorithms are done, how to show the data to the user. So these are the things that you will never get taught in college, right? But when you work in or contribute to this open source project, you start to learn all these things. Next slide. Next slide. So contributions. So you now have contributions. Why contributions in itself is important? So every one of us has the aim in college to get a placement or get a job at the end of this season, right? So many might argue that it's a bad reason to do open source. Many might say it's a good reason to do open source. For me, as long as you're doing open source and you're developing something new, it's a good reason. It's a step forward. So all these contributions actually help you to showcase some projects which none of your other college mates will be having in their resume. You can actually say that I have worked in Linux. Now just think about it for a second. When you say in your resume that I have worked for Linux, or let's say I have worked for Firefox, and then you say that I have worked in some registration website, whom do you think the company is going to give a priority? It's pretty obvious, right? The resume seals the deal for you. So that's why contributions play an important role. And since it's open source, there is nothing like that, okay, I contributed to this, but then it's closed, so I can show you, but believe me that I contributed to this. No, you can actually go to your GitHub account and show, see, these are all my contributions, right? Next slide. Sharing. So sharing is always an important part, as your mothers might have taught you in childhood. So sharing always helps you to learn more and also to teach others more. So it has always been. I had taken on a mentorship role while I was in college, teaching the juniors and stuff. The reason why I did was not because I thought I was good in mentorship, but mentorship always helps in learning more from when you are teaching, because maybe while you are teaching, maybe when you learned yourself, you never thought, okay, how does this work? But when you're teaching someone, they might be asking you, okay, how does this work? And maybe you never had that answer, so you will now try to learn, okay, how did that work? So sharing doesn't only mean that you're giving away the knowledge. Knowledge can never be given away. So it's like more about learning yourself. So all the third years and fourth years who have done Google Summer of Code or open source, like this slide is more for them. You should be like taking a lead role, sharing what you know, so that all the newcomers can actually understand, and most probably you will actually get to learn a lot more from them. Next slide. Community. Why community is important is, as you know, like you will need networks, a lot of people that you know around, right? So that you can actually ask for job opportunities outside of all the placements that you do. So community really helps you get to know a lot of people who are not in this college campus. Let's say I know code developers of Python. That's only because I did open source. Now, that's not possible when you are just in part of college, sitting in your hostel or just roaming about in the field. So that helps when you are part of the Python communities that you find anywhere. That's when you get to know that these are people who are actually working with the code of Python, which is very interesting, right? So that's when community comes into play. Next slide. Opportunities, like I was saying, so with community comes opportunities. When you know people who are working in better places, you can actually approach them for either learning new things or even for job opportunities or opportunities to start your own thing and get a guide from them, right? So there lies an opportunity when you are connected with a community. When you are just a one-man team is okay, but then if you are not a part of community, then what happens is you don't really have a lot of opportunities to get feedback from other people, right? Next slide. Okay. And bragging rights, the very important part of open source, right? You can just, like what I'm doing currently, I can go and say, hey, I contributed to jQuery, yay, big thing. So bragging rights always come with open source. You can brag all around college, wearing these t-shirts, sporting this kind of stickers all over your laptops. So yeah, that's also, I won't say a bad thing, that's a good thing. So that's one of the advantages of doing open source. Next slide. So what are the benefits as a student? Next slide. Yeah. So unbounded learning. Why do I say unbounded learning and not learning? Because when you do learning, we are learning in college, but what happens is we are restricted by only the professors that we are provided and only the seniors that we have in college. But what happens when you are doing open source is you can learn from a person who is sitting in the United States, or maybe in Cape Town in Africa, or maybe in Japan somewhere, right? Which is not possible if you are just doing what is being done in the coursework of college. So that helps when you do unbounded learning. It helps to see how the things are different in other places. It helps you to see how the different technologies are being used in different countries, and that gives you more ideas. That gives you how to use the technologies properly. Like today, there is like a mushrooming amount of technologies, right? There is a new framework every second there is a new JavaScript framework at least. So everyone is like, whatever is the new trending thing, I'm going to use it everywhere. But that's not the right approach, right? So when you get to learn from a lot of people, you actually get to learn. Like you have an unbounded learning. You get to learn from different time zones, different places. You are not restricted anymore. Next slide. Professional interaction. So you get to meet with professionals who are actually into coding and everything, who are actually working in these open source projects. Next slide. Outside opportunities. So let's say, God forbid, tomorrow placement just stops in IIIT Allahabad. Like there is no more placement. So everyone is going to get devastated, whoever is thinking about packages, 20 LPA, 30 LPA, whatever LPA. But then if there is no placement, you are pretty much left with 0 LPA. So that's when outside opportunities come into play, and to be very fair, open source helps you in doing that a lot. Next slide. Understanding of computing. This is one of the very important things which is similar to the understanding of code slide. Why understanding of computing is important is what we do here, what we learn in the course books, most of the course books that are taught, most of the authors have already died, right? And technology changes like drastically over time. So when you see and when you keep up with the changes in the open source, you actually understand what are the new computing things that are happening right now, right? So maybe the technologies that were used 10 years back doesn't even make. There is already a 10 years challenge going on. I guess many of you are very excited about it. But yeah, so understanding of computing always changes when you are keeping update with all the open source things that are going on, right? That actually helps you to understand how computing is right now, not how it was 100 years back, right? Next slide. And fun. So this is something I would encourage. Don't do Python as a part of course. Don't do JavaScript as a part of course. Do it as a part of fun, right? Let's say you are in sports team, you like playing football, you play football. Do the open source code, do development with the same enthusiasm and fun as you are doing playing of football. Why? The biggest reason is, similar to football, no one is going to judge you and grade you based on what you do in open source, right? That's one of the reasons where we stopped doing stuff. I hated like mathematics when I had to study mathematics in college because of grades. But apart from that, I love mathematics, right? Similarly, if you start doing it for just the grades or just for other things, then you don't actually do it. You stop doing it. So do it just for the sake of the fun of it. Like, hey, I made this website. That's the fun of it. Showcase it to everyone. That's it. Maybe if you're interested in football, just make a website where you can actually schedule football games with other batches. Just do that for the sake of fun of it. No reason. Don't even think of a reason. Don't even think which million people are going to use. No one is going to use. Only 2 of you are going to use. But make for the sake of it. Make for the fun of it. Right? Next slide. So these are some of the statistics for people who believe that, okay, all these are just nonsense and he's just talking and there are no statistics behind it. So some of you who like numbers, these are for them. And for people who think that encouraging doing open source is not a good thing, these numbers are also for them. So there are 96 plus million active repositories as of 2018 in GitHub. GitHub is basically a platform where most of the open source projects are hosted, or like the code base is there. There are other different places, but GitHub is one of the primary ones. So there are 96 plus million active repos. That's a lot of repositories. Alright. Next slide. So 78% of the companies that are actually running on open source, most of the companies that you will see have some kind of open source code, some open source tool that they're using. Next slide. 92% of any application that you use actually has open source code. Any application, take it. Even if you're using Microsoft, Microsoft basically is using some kind of open source code. So there are 92% of any application which has open source code or libraries in it. Next slide. And then there is this evaluation. This is just that because people in college come and they like to see money a lot. So $140 billion is a lot of money. So yeah, you're not going to get it yourself, so don't worry. Next slide. And yeah, but the problem that comes in, the problem which many of you might be thinking right now is, okay, I contribute to all these things and all those things, self-motivation and fun and everything. I don't have any self-motivation. What do I do? So this is not actually a big problem that we have been seeing in open source coming up for a few years back. So 62% of the open source projects, according to some statistics, are self-funded. Which what that means is basically I start an open source project, I pay for the server, I pay for all the tools that I'm using, and I create the project, and then thousands of people are using it. But then it's all on me, the money is all on me, so it's self-funded. So that's where people actually stop doing open source. That's where many of you might already be thinking, why do I do something which is free? I'm getting nothing out of it. So next slide. So yeah, the big question here is like if open source is sustainable. Next slide. So this is an example. How many, like a few of you are web developers or into web development, you said. So how many of you have heard the term Bootstrap? Anyone use Bootstrap library? Anyone use Semantic UI library? So semantic UI library is a very similar library to Bootstrap, which I love using because Bootstrap makes your website look like just yet another Twitter. So semantic UI doesn't do that. So yeah, that's a good framework if you are like using front end. I would encourage you to try it out. So this guy in the middle, whose handle is JLukich. So he is a single maintainer of semantic UI. Okay, there are like thousands of stars, millions of people are using his repository, but he is the single one who maintains it and ensures that everything is fine, everything works, and he is the one who is paying out of his own pocket. Next slide. Like apart, unlike the grade where it's only ends in A plus, it can go to millions. So there are like, he has 40,000 stars. So there are at least 40,000 people who are using it, right? But there are questions like this semantic UI development debt, because there are a lot of semantic UI development in the last few years. Next slide. And this is actually what I'm doing semantic UI, so I'm taking a break from it. Basically, that's the summary of the entire comment. That's one of the reasons why many open source contributors also stop doing contribution. They just do open source contribution. How many of you have heard about GSOC, Google Summer of Code? Many of you, right? So many of you just go till there. You end in Google Summer of Code. The reason is you try. I have even heard this term when people say, how can I crack Google Summer of Code? The funny thing is you can never crack Google Summer of Code, unlike many of the other competitions. The only way to bridge Google Summer of Code is doing open source contribution. There is no shortcut, no way to crack it, right? So, for example, how many of you know this example? What do people do with the internet? Okay. Like, I understand you people, I heard that YouTube is the fastest, like the only thing that works very good now in college. So most probably all of you spend your time in YouTube, which is still good if you are not spending all of your time in torrent. But this was actually a big news in technology a few days back. Why? Because this broke almost every JavaScript framework that was there in the market. Every JavaScript framework. It was all over Twitter, Facebook, so you are probably following the wrong page. So this is an event project called event string, which is used by many JavaScript frameworks. What happened was the maintainer got bored of the project and he was like, I can't sustain myself doing the same thing. So he gave away the maintainership rights to another person, and that person uses this project without even knowing whether that person is suited for doing the code or not. And that person introduces vulnerabilities into the project. Now the fun thing about open source is, when you introduce a vulnerability, most probably in a second or two, people are going to know about it, because there are people who are studying the code, they are seeing the code, so they can understand that there is a vulnerability. There is no hiding like Microsoft can do, like, okay, I am just putting a bad code, and yeah, that's done, no one knows about it. So you get to know about it, and people found out the vulnerability and there was a huge rage about it, right? So this kind of things happen. Next slide. And this is a funny tweet that happened just yesterday. So, can everyone read this tweet? So take some moment and read this tweet. This is a funny conversation between a mother and a child. And this scenario is 100 times worse in India. I can understand. Like if you tell your mother, okay, I am doing open source contribution, I am writing millions of lines of code. People are using your software? Yeah, people are using the software. How much do you get back from it? That's a funny story. So it's still somewhat with my parents. They're like, okay, means you are doing open source and everything. Is it worth it? Yeah, let me think about it. So, yeah, and this is like a scenario with ESLint. So anyone who uses JavaScript, they will know about ESLint. It's a very well-known framework. It's like used by anyone who kind of uses JavaScript. So this is a conversation of him with his mother. That this guy is the author of ESLint, the one who tweeted. So yeah. Next slide. So should open source be free? That's a big question because I said free and open source. Next slide. So anyone knows who this funny guy is? Okay. So this guy is Richard Stallman. He is the one who started all this free software madness and free software movements and everything. Like he is a very respected guy. So he says, maybe I should have not said beer, that happened. So he says, think of it as free speech, not as free beer. It's not like something which is free of cost, it's more about freedom of doing it, freedom of contributing to it. So there has absolutely no reason that open source or a free software has to be free of cost. There can be revenue models, right? There are different ways how people do it. Let's say Wikipedia let's say WordPress for example. So WordPress is a blogging platform. So it has many revenue tiers where you actually have to pay for the service they are providing. But at the end of the day, the entire code of WordPress is actually free. So you can actually free and open source. So you can basically just download and clone and do whatever you want to do with the WordPress code, right? So that's how things work. It's not at all like you will get it free of cost. That's something like freeware. That's not an open source software, right? Freewares are the softwares which are free of cost, right? Next slide. So this is like what many people are trying to do. So I currently work in a company which kind of tries to solve this problem, like the sustainability problem in open source. So I focused, like the talk was mostly supposed to be focused on that part of sustainability, but I guess since many of you are not familiar with why to contribute and how to contribute and what is open source, so I try to focus on that part more. So what happens is like you can basically incentivize, how you can incentivize is you can make other people do like what many open source projects already do, but they don't pay anything back to you. They make small parts of the project, make issues out of it, which are very easily solvable by all of us, people like us, right? And what happens is when you solve that issue, it's mostly because of self-motivation. But then there is a chance of incentivizing more than just saying good job on the pull request, right? Next slide. So this is the problem that we in Gitcoin actually identified. There's a gap between the contributor and the maintainer, and most of these open source projects have a lot of money. Not this one, so these are self-funded, but then projects like, I can say projects like, let's say, Linux Foundation has quite some money, Mozilla has quite some money, many of the projects have quite some money, right? And the thing is they can actually bounty. The only thing that you right now get is like free swags. You get a sport t-shirt. Like I literally stopped buying t-shirt after I was in second year because I already have a lot of t-shirts from different organizations. So that is a good advantage, but then you don't get a lot of incentive out of it, right? Next slide. Okay, so the solution basically is something like this. It's a two-way movement where the maintainer can actually speed up things, because when you are don't have an incentive, you can't really say someone, hey, I need this thing done within a month or so, or like this is a priority, right? And what the contributor happens is the contributor gets to work, gets more incentives from the maintainers, and they get to learn, and all the perks of being in open source are still there, right? So that's the solution, that's the flow that we are trying to approach. Next slide. Again, something didn't load, that is no. So the previous slide was something about how jobs look right now and how jobs should be. So mostly what happens in jobs, or let even forget job, what happens in Geekhaven. There is someone who is like the primary coordinator of Geekhaven, right? Then he has few of the coordinators under him who handle all the different branches, right? And then there are 3 team members or 4 team members who are under these coordinators. That's more or less the Geekhaven flow. So even if we see most of the startups in India, when you will be like applying for a job, they have this line called flat hierarchy. We don't follow any hierarchy, which is actually a lie. Everyone has a hierarchy in job, everyone does that. Why? Because job is very centralized these days, right? There is someone at the top who is holding control, and then everyone is working kind of based on his goals or whatever be the case. In Gitcoin, what we think is we should be having, can anyone give an example of a decentralized job? So there is a somewhat decentralized job. I can see few of you are sleepy, but okay, I'm not going to say anything. Some of you are already sleeping. But a good example of decentralized jobs are the Uber drivers and the Ola drivers. Yeah, they are working for Uber, but then an Uber driver can actually work for Ola as well, right? And they don't actually work for a particular person and driving their particular car for their job. They actually can be like, okay, someone needs a cab, I just go there, I pick it up, right? So that's how job opportunities in coding might be looking in few years, where you don't just work for Microsoft. You are working in Microsoft, you are contributing to Microsoft, and then maybe you are contributing to Google, and then you have your own startup where other people are contributing to, right? So it's a very decentralized kind of an architecture. It was a good GIF set for you people. So that's how we think of it, and that's kind of what we are trying to build. But what I want to focus on today is about how you people can start contributing to open source. So mostly this is one of the big questions that comes up, like how do I start contributing to open source? What I used to always say is, go to the Google Summer of Code project page, you will see a lot of organizations, find out the organizations that have work in it, see the issues, contact the people and all these things, right? And then you start doing open source projects. Well, you kind of have a better way of doing it, and that's like what we are trying to do in Gitcoin. What is, you get to see all the issues that are bounded by the open source organization. So what in Gitcoin, what organizations do is, they feel that this issue can be handled by an open source contributor. So the organization will just fund the issue for them, and anyone who contributes and makes the code live for them, they get paid back. So anyone can actually use the Gitcoin platform as a funder, anyone can use the platform as a contributor. So now you have this platform where you can go and you can find millions of issues out there where you can contribute to, right? So you don't have to really search through, okay, which is the issue that maybe someone is looking for a contribution. You can go here, all the issues that have open work status in it are basically looking for a contribution. Second thing, you get paid in it. Now there's a little small problem behind this in terms of India, that's we pay in ERC20 tokens or Ether, or what you might know as cryptocurrencies. Right? Now, cryptocurrencies is something which Indian government doesn't support, so you won't be able to just take all the Ether that you have and put it into the millions of rupees in your bank account. So that's not possible. But at the same time, the point being that you already get all the perks that you were doing in open source, right? You get the bragging rights, you get to show it in your resume. The thing is, you get an additional amount of cryptocurrency in your wallet. Now, even if you can't put it in the bank account, there are already applications coming up where you can pay via cryptocurrencies. So if you can pay via cryptocurrency, that is not something Indian government can do anything about. Right. So if you already have cryptocurrencies in your wallet, you can pay via cryptocurrencies. Right. So that's one of the advantages that you have, and that's kind of the disadvantage also. But yeah, finally you're getting something paid out of it. Next slide. So you can pretty much work for big organizations and showcase it. Next slide. Once you find a project, you go to the project, you do a start work over here. This is the leftmost button was start work, which is not visible to even me, so it's not visible to you. Next slide. Okay. And then you do some begin work. So when you start doing begin work, it's basically the open source flow. But what you have now sorted out is which issue you are going to work upon. So you don't have to think about that part. That part is taken care of. Now you have an issue that you are working on. You go to the channel where all the conversations happen about how to contribute, what is the best approach to contribute to this issue. You do that, then there is something called pull requests. How many of you have ever used GitHub? That's very sad. There should be all hands, but okay. So there are things called pull requests and everything. So pull request is a way of contributing to an open source project. That's how you suggest modification of changes to the code. So when you make a pull request, it's like saying, hey, this is the way you can solve this issue. Now it's up to the maintainer who will go through the pull request. It's not at all the pull request isn't the end step, it's the starting step of contribution. So after that, there is something called reviewing of the pull request, which goes on, and the maintainer gives you the feedback behind your pull request. And that is where all the self-development happens. That is where you get to learn a lot of things which you were doing wrong. From very beginning steps of indentation to very different steps of how you can improve complexity. You get to learn it all on a pull request review. right? It's always said that getting the first pull request merged is the most difficult thing. So the first pull request can take you months, but after that it's always an uphill way. So once you have your first pull request merged, it's pretty easy, and hopefully you will get a hang of open source as well. So you make a pull request and you submit it, your pull request gets merged. Next slide. Next slide. That you submit your work, which is basically just submitting the link of the pull request over here. And next slide. And then you get paid. So I always like to say you get paid because that always attracts students. Yeah, payment, money, big thing. So yeah, then you get paid, you have this amount on your account, wallet, everything. So there are people in Gitcoin, this is statistics, who do nothing, just contribute to Gitcoin, and they earn more than any placement that you can think of in this college. So that's possible. Only thing is like the neighbor won't be happy about you because you're really sitting in your home. But forget the neighbor. You get to earn a lot of money. You can take a room somewhere else. So yeah, that's how you can actually start contributing to open source altogether, right? Next slide. So this is something that we started very recently. It's still in alpha state, but this is more about maybe the other speakers or people who are already thinking of startups right now here. So this is something very similar to the Patreon flow that we have today. So most of the open source contributors that we have today who have their own projects, who have their own startups, what they do is they go into Patreon and think, okay, maybe someone will like pay for me. But Patreon is a very common platform which has everyone from YouTubers to coders, right? So this is a very dedicated platform only for open source developers. So if you are doing an open source project, if you have an open source framework, then you basically get to like have Bitcoin grants. You can like save for Bitcoin grants. You can start a Bitcoin grants with all your team members on it, and then people come and contribute, and that's what you get monthly. So you have a monthly stable source of income while maintaining an open source project. So any one of you who turns to be a maintainer in the next day can actually try Bitcoin grants for that. Right? Next slide. Okay. So yeah, that was my talk. Any questions? So this is basically my Twitter. I just keep tweeting some random stuff and some code stuff. Mostly the random stuffs get more likes than the code stuffs. I don't know if I'm doing it wrong or not. But anyways, you can follow me over here. So any of you have any questions? I know for a first year, raising hand and saying I have a question is very fearful, but please do. Like, there are mostly no professors sitting here apart from Rahul Dalla, so there is perfectly fine, because I am here. So please ask any questions that you have. Like, I really encourage you to ask questions. What if I say that if you ask questions, I will give you stickers? Still no? That's pretty sad. How about few Ethereum? No questions? No one? Seriously? Sure? Okay, well, if you are shy enough, because I was one of you people, and you don't want to ask questions now, I will be hanging around for today and then tomorrow also.